رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد. Today's khutbah, today's topic is extremely important. Today we're going to talk about standing up for justice and standing up for the truth. Standing up for justice is not just standing up for what we think is right, but for what is right, no matter what the consequences are. No matter what the problems are, the consequences are, as Muslims, we are required to be just. As a matter of fact, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam, He said, I will create a Khalifa on this earth. Now what is a Khalifa? A Khalifa is someone who maintains justice on earth. So it's as if the reason we were created is to maintain justice in the world. Now obviously the reason we were created is to worship Allah, right? And Allah commands us in the Quran to be just. He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ لِلَّهِ شُهَدَاءَ بِالْقِسْطِ. Stand firm for Allah and bear true testimony. Do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice. So since we're supposed to defend it and stand up for Allah, how do we do so? There is no better way to teach us how to do so except or better than what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us. I'm going to cover one little story, a little incident that happened. It's a small incident, but if you go in it, you dig deep into it, you'll see that it's huge. But once upon a time, the Prophet ﷺ, and this was towards the end of his prophet, his 23 years, towards the end. The Prophet, we all know that he had to deal with the kuffar of Mecca. And then he was kicked out of Mecca and he went to Medina. He migrated there. And then he established Medina, and then he had to defend Medina multiple times. And he got injured and so much happened to him. But the Sahaba around him, his companions, they loved him so much that they would defend him with their lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with the Sahaba. All of the Sahaba who defended the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, day and night, they would put their lives on the line for him. One day the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood up in front of them, in front of the companions, and he said, "O my companions, is there anything about this deen that was left that I didn't inform you about?" The Sahaba, they said no. They said, "You did everything. You did everything day in and day out for us." "Of course," he said. "Did I commit injustice to any of you? Was I unjust? Did I harm or oppress any one of you?" Everyone was quiet. They're just looking at each other. Of course not. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who came with the Quran, who came with the guidance, who came to teach us how to get to Jannah, who taught us how to, be true servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course nobody's going to say yes. But guess what? There was one man. One man, he stood up and he said, "Me, Ya Rasulullah." All the Sahaba looked back. He said, "Who is this person? Who's saying that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was unjust to them?" And guess what? It was a man by the name of Ukasha. And this man stood up and he said, "Me." And he said, "And what is this? How did I oppress you? How was I unjust to you?" This is the Prophet ﷺ saying that. He said, "One day, we were standing in a row to prepare for battle. And you were telling us to straighten our lines. Right? And my belly was sticking out of the line. And you had a stick. And with you had a stick and you were going to the people that are in battle, the Sahaba, and you're telling them, you're good. But when you got to me, you poked me. And when you poked me, it hurt me and I stepped back. And I went into the line. That poke was you doing injustice to me, said Ukasha to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet, what do you think he did to him? What are you talking about? Why are you being weak? Why are you being silly? That's not what he said. That's not what he said, subhanAllah. Do you think the Sahaba attacked him and started telling him, why are you saying this? No. The Sahaba, they stayed quiet because they wanted to learn the justice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet told him, okay, I agree with you. I wasn't just. I harmed you that day. Come and take your compensation from me. Come and take your justice from me. I deserve to be poked the way that you were poked. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he gave him a stick and he told him, here's my stomach. He uncovered his stomach in front of everyone. And then this man Ukasha, he picked up the stick in front of everyone. And imagine the Sahaba, imagine what their faces are like. They're about to see the most beloved person to them about to get hit, about to get poked. He's about to get poked and the Sahaba can't do anything about it. It's as if they're getting poked in their heart. But guess what? They are learning justice. So when he uncovered his stomach, Ukasha grabbed the stick and he didn't hit the Prophet. Instead, he put the stick down and he ran and he embraced the Prophet ﷺ. He hugged him, he hugged his stomach, and then he kissed his stomach. And then he asked him, Ya Ukasha, why are you doing this? Why did you do this? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm going to battle after this. And I want the last thing that I touch to be your skin. And all the Sahaba, they started to cry. But there's one thing that we learn from the story, right? Is that the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't use his position, he didn't use his status, he didn't use his power. Every single person in that room would have defended him with his life. If he told them to go get Ukasha and to get rid of him, they would listen. Right? If he told Ukasha to leave, he would have to listen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو التواب الرحيم.